Okay, so today, day 30 of 100. We'll see where we get. So go into a child's pose. So child's pose for some people is not comfortable because they have knee problems and going all the way to their heels is not very comfortable. So there's always the option to put a blanket, put a pillow between the calf muscles and the thigh so that you sit a little bit higher. If you're quite stiff and when you have your knees together, your forehead is really far away from the floor. Take a block or a pillow or a book and place your forehead on it. So we want to find some rest. The other way to get a little bit deeper is to separate your knees and bring the big toes together. And then you will be able to go deeper. If all this is not comfortable, place your arms on a chair and then just go like this. That's also an adjusted child's pose. So if your forehead is touching something, hopefully, you can bring your arms to the back for now. And let's just arrive here. So let the breath find its calmness. Let the body settle. So if you haven't done too many moves this morning yet, you might be a little bit stiff in your body. So here, just let go, exhale through the mouth, letting go the body, sinking slowly. The muscles are going to open through this pose. If having the arms back is not comfortable, you can bring them forward, make a pillow maybe with your forearms, bring your forehead there. But you want to make sure that your neck, the back of your neck is long. So not that you have like a curve to really want to reach the floor. So let's take 3 more deep inhales. And as you exhale, exhale through the mouth. Let it go. And then if you have your knees separate, and it's okay for you to bring the knees together, bring them together. Otherwise, just stay where you are. So bring your forehead back onto the floor or onto your arms, whatever is most comfortable. And now with your belly and your chest resting on your thighs, we're going to take a deep breath in and see if we can open our back. So sending the expansion of the lungs towards the back. So deep inhale. And exhale, release the body. 2 more times. Exhale. And last. And then coming back to a natural breath. We're going to extend the arms in the front. So have a look at your hands so that they're in line with your shoulders. Open the fingers wide. Thumbs are pointing towards each other. Press your fingers into the floor as hard as you can. Feel your whole arm getting active. And then with your fingers into the floor, especially the thumb and the index. So press a little bit harder into your thumb and your index. Start to roll the inside of your elbows up. It's minimal, like don't expect it to turn 90 degrees. Because as you do that, as you roll the inside of your elbow up, your shoulders are also going to widen, and you should feel an expansion in the upper back. So widening in the upper back, opening of the shoulders, pressing the thumb and the index into the floor, pressing all the fingers as well. There's not so much weight in the heel of my hand now. And then with your next inhale, press into your hand and come onto all four. So maybe adjust the all four so that your wrists are underneath your shoulders and your knees underneath the hips. And we're going to start by warming up the spine with the cat and cow. So let's inhale, reach the tailbone up, belly button down. Really imagine one vertebra at a time, like a domino game, and then roll the shoulder back, lengthen the neck, and only then your gaze is coming forward. Exhale, starting from the tailbone, belly button up. Round the spine, one vertebra at a time. Press into your hands, shoulders come forward, your neck is bending and your chin comes to the chest. 4 more breaths like this at the rhythm of your breath. If you feel that your body needs to stay a little bit longer on one side, stay there for an extra cycle of breath. And really feel what happens when you control, when you send the breath to that part of the body that needs it most. And then after your next exhale, coming back to neutral spine, tucking the toes, pressing into your hands, keeping the knees bent and coming up into a downward dog, gentle downward dog. So we want to focus on the upper body. Lift your heels up, keep your knees bent, lift your hips up. So I'm not pushing my heels down, I'm not lengthening my legs for the moment. I'm continuing to press the thumb and the index into the floor, rolling the inside of the elbow towards the sky. My shoulders are widening and then I'm lifting my hips, getting that neutrality in my spine. Take one more breath in, and as you exhale, come onto your knees. Come back onto all fours and inhale for your cow. If you imagine the dog, it's better. And then exhale back into a cat position. And then again, tuck your toes. We're going back into that same movement, lifting the hips up, pressing into your hands, press your head between your arms, rolling. I'm still high on my toes. So my heels are high, high, high. I'm just working on my upper body. Inhale, exhale. Next exhale, bring the knees down. Come back onto all fours. So normally you shouldn't change anything into your hands. And then one cycle of cat and cow. So see with what you start first. It doesn't really matter. We want fluidity in the movement. We don't want our thinking to interrupt the fluidity in the movement. And then last time, let's come up into downward dog, and this time stretching one leg and then the other. So gently walking your dog without losing the length in your spine. And then one more time, lifting the heels up. This time, see if you can stretch out your knee. Watch out for your lower back that it doesn't start to round. So my belly button is pressing towards my thighs here. And now very slowly pushing the heels back and down. Keeping strong hands, neutral spine. Maybe you won't go so far if you concentrate so much on pushing the heels down. So feel what's happening into the legs. Take a breath in and a breath out. Bring the toes, the big toes together. Lift your right leg up. And now bend your right knee and bring the knee as close as you can towards your nose. So you're gonna have to work with your core, bringing the knee forward. And then if you can hop your right foot forward. Wherever it lands, you grab your heel, your ankle, and you bring it a little bit more forward. And then bring the left knee down. Untuck your toe. Place your left hand under your left shoulder. Reach your right arm forward. And then start to make big circles with that right arm. So coming up, turning the palm up as you come up. And as you come down, you turn the palm back down. This is going to make your shoulder move a little bit more. Strong supporting arm. Don't hesitate to use a block to put underneath your left hand if you need a little bit more height And then after 3 times, bring the right hand next to the right foot, so on the outside of the right foot. Come onto your fingertips for a moment. Reach your heart forward. So I'm creating length between the crown of my head and the knee that's on the floor. So I'm opening my chest here. Again, if this is too low, you are taking blocks so that you can be a little bit higher. And then from here, start to open up the right arm towards the sky. So it's not throwing the arm back. It's very slowly finding that rotation from your tailbone. Unwrap, as if you unwrap your spine. If you can even go further, play a little bit with your shoulders to see, can I go a little bit further, or am I here or here? It's all good, but you don't want your arm to go back and the rest of your body to face the floor. So it's really that whole upper body, the chest comes to the side. If you want to go a little bit further, come on the outside of your right foot and open your hip, to open your right knee, sorry, towards the right, and sink a little bit more into the hips. Every exhale, letting go into the hips, sidewards opening. If this doesn't feel good, you come back. And then slowly coming back. Walk your hands back, lift your toes, come onto the back of your heel, just to give your wrists a little bit of a rest here. Roll the shoulders back, but your hamstrings are not getting a rest. Lengthen the spine. So again, if you need to be higher, take blocks so that you can be higher. And then exhale, reaching the heart forward. So the goal is not to go kiss your toes. The goal is to reach with your heart, reaching forward. And then slowly place your right foot back to the floor. Place your hands down, tuck your back toes, and come back into downward facing dog. So if you need a break, go into child's pose. Bend your knees, lengthen your spine in your downward dog. Reach up with those hips, open the shoulders. And then exhale, push the heels back and down. And feel your body stretching. Inhaling, exhaling. So this time we're gonna lift the left leg up. Bend the left knee, and then again, as you bring the knee towards your nose, you're moving a little bit more forward. Your knee comes closer and closer to your chest. Because we're moving slow, it's a little bit more difficult, so you don't have that swing. So see where you can reach with your left foot. Grab your left ankle and then move your foot forward. Right knee on the floor. So right hand underneath your right shoulder, reach the left arm forward. And again, those 3 big openings. But really, as your hand is pointing forward, your palm is on the inside. As you're reaching up, turn the palm out and feel what happens in your shoulder and your shoulder blade. And then you can go back. And then your palm comes back towards your body. And then again. So 3 in total. See if you can stay with your breath here. And then both hands on the floor. Come onto your fingertips for a moment or on the blocks and reach your heart forward. So I'm rolling my shoulders back. I'm creating one line from the crown of my head to my right knee. And then from here, start to open your left arm. You're rotating in your spine, reaching your left shoulder up to the sky. Maybe your left shoulder is on top of your right. If you want to go a little bit further, come on the outside of your left foot and open the knee towards the left. Sink into your hips. So the main pose we're doing is opening up and twisting. If you need more, then you add your hips. So know where you are today. You don't have to go and try to do everything, because most of the time we do everything halfway then. So focus on one thing. Maybe you just want to focus on your breath today. That's all fine. And then slowly coming back. Walk your hands back. Come onto the back left heel. Lift your toes. So your foot is flexed. Your foot is not just hanging there. So lift it up. Inhale, exhale. And then walk your hands back to the front. Place the hands down. Lift the back knee, and this time hop your right foot forward. Let's inhale, roll the shoulders back. Press your hips back, legs are straight, feet are strong. Roll the shoulders back, elbows back. You can bring your hands as high as your thighs. If you need a little bit more, you can bring your arms to the side or even bring them to the front. But watch out when you bring your arms to the front that you don't compensate in your lower back by either rounding or curving. So it's lengthening of the spine here. Make sure you're still breathing. And then from here, slowly going down. Now bend your knees, place your belly onto your thighs, relax your head, shake your head out, yes, no, taking advantage of the weight of my head to open a little bit in the cervical spine. So maybe shake it out really well, and then take another breath in, release into the hips. If your hands are easily touching the floor, turn the palms up. We will less have the tendency to push. So we're just releasing, exhaling, and then start to bend your knees. I keep my belly onto my thighs. Bend your knees. If you need, you can place your hands onto your hips or on your legs somewhere. Roll the shoulders back. So I'm still having my belly onto my thighs. I'm sitting more and more into my chair. So up to you what you want to do. You can reach your arms forward, maybe push your hips a little bit more back. I'm on my heels here. My toes are dancing. And then start to press into your feet. And with a straight spine, come all the way back up. And exhale. Inhale, come into your mountain pose. Exhale. So mountain pose, we've practiced it a lot this month. And as we continue waiting in line, make use of that otherwise wasted time to just stand in mountain pose, paying attention maybe to your body, maybe to your breath. There's always something. Okay, so we'll do one first balance. We'll start with mountain pose. We are in mountain pose. We'll start with the tree pose, and then we'll do another balance after. So find that Tadasana and really imprint that Tadasana feeling, that strength, that stability into your brain, because that's what we have to keep the whole time. So hands onto the hips. Choose which side you want to go first. I'm going to bring the weight onto my left leg. Watch out that you don't immediately sink in your hips. And then bring the knee up this time. And then open up. So if you know that you need to balance on your toes and the heel on the inside, you're going to lower your leg. Otherwise, below your knee or above your knee. If you're very flexible and comfortable with lotus, you can always, maybe I'm not, bring the foot into the hip crease and then open up in half a lotus. Very often, because of what we wear, the foot is going to glide down. So you might want to have to hold on to the foot. If your foot is high, above the knee, I mean, press your foot into your thigh and your thigh into your foot. So you really have to find a lot of strength in to the hip stabilizers, the sides of your hips. So if you have your hands on your hips, feel how active your hips are or should be. So see if you can press a little bit more into your supporting leg. Compress your hips together. Activate the core, lift your chest, and maybe then you can bring the hands to the heart. If you start to wobble too much, keep your hands to the heart or bring them back to your hips. If your underground is maybe too soft, you can always move to a harder underground. For some people, that really makes a difference. And then reach the arms up. Any way you want. If you want to be a cactus, if you need some Mexican weather imagination, become a cactus. If you want to be a tree, or maybe a pine tree, whatever imagination you have. If you fall out, start from the beginning. Now focus on a point about 2-3 meters in front of you that doesn't move. And when your breath becomes very calm, your mind is calm, then you really reap the benefits of this balancing pose. And then exhale, bring the hands back in front of the heart. If they were up, onto the hips, bring the knee forward and bring the foot down. Release your hands and find your Tadasana again. So it's going to be a different feeling than the one we had before we did tree pose on one side. Just observing. And then let's move to the other side. So hands onto the hips, finding your standing leg, lifting the other knee, opening up, and then ideally you put the foot at the same height as the other side, unless you have some technical construction differences, but otherwise we go to the same side. And then again, activating the supporting leg, pressing the thigh into the foot and the foot into the thigh. If you press only the foot, your hip is going to go out and then you're all crooked and you won't be able to stand. So we're trying to really put bones over bones so that the muscles have to work minimal. One side is always different than the other. Activate the core, lift your chest up, feel what that does to your pose. And then at the arms, if you want to do that. And then slowly bring the hands back, hands onto the hips, knee to the front, and come down. And this should feel a little bit more balanced. So take a breath in and a breath out. Let's come to the front of the mat. Standing in your Tadasana pose. So you can have your big toes together or you can have your feet separated. That's really how you feel the most stable. Let's inhale, reach the arms up and really stretch yourself out. But that means also pushing the heels into the floor, rolling the shoulder back, shoulder blades down, and activating the core in a way that you can lift your chest up a little bit more. Reach your fingertips. Like my fingers are not just hanging there, they're part of this whole stretch. And then exhale, bring the arms to the side. Inhale, reach up again. And then exhale, fold forward from the hip crease. Inhale, long, long spine. Exhale, fold forward. This time, bring the right foot back for a warrior two. So your right toes point to the long side, the left toes to the short side. And then windmill your arm. It's always the easiest to come up. So you're moving your body up. Adjust your stand if you need to. Press the outside of your back foot into the floor. And the ball mount of the big toe is the one that is going to go more into the floor at the front. Come down a little bit. Have a look at your front knee, your left knee. Is it more falling in? If it is, turn your thigh out. It's coming from the hip. So ideally we have the hips parallel with the long side, but not everybody is built like that. Inhale, exhale, maybe come a little bit deeper. And then turn the front palm up and open into your warrior four. So strong back leg. I'm not starting to fall in my back hip here. My outer foot, my leg, my kneecap is lifted. If this is all too much, just pick up what you pick up. It's all okay. Keep breathing. And then exhale. And now bend your elbow. Bring your forearm onto your front thigh. So not on the knee, but a little bit higher. And see if you can go a little bit deeper. If you can always take a block or even place your hand on the floor and then reach your right arm up. But I'm not leaning forward. So if you want to have your hand on the floor and you're totally falling forward, keep your elbow onto your thigh. And then from your arm up, turn the palm towards the front and then reach out. So fingertips to your back heel, one straight line. So if you're deeper, this feels good. Maybe if you want to do a bind. So I'm coming to my favorite pose. You're going to bring your left arm in the back and your right arm underneath your leg. And then maybe you can hold on to your hands. I don't know why, but I find so much calmness in this pose. So wherever you are, hand on the floor, just find that stretch. If you're higher, that's fine too. Like everything is fine. Feel what happens in your body. And then very slowly, let's come back into our warrior two. Let's lift the left toes, turn them forward, bring your hands onto your hips, and we're gonna turn the right toes out. So we are ready for warrior two on the other side. Bring the arms out, start to bend your front knee. If you need to adjust, your knee should not go further than your front heel. Press the outside of your back foot into the floor. As you do this and you press the inside and your right thigh turns out, you might feel an opening in the front of your hips. It's okay. That's what we're looking for in a way. Not specifically into this pose, but this pose, like downward facing dog, there's so much happening in this pose. And then turn the right palm up and come into your warrior four for 3 breaths. So often as we lift our right arm, we're gonna unbend our right knee. So make sure that your right knee remains strong. Your legs are your anchors, opening up the right side of your body. And then exhale, warrior two. Bend your front elbow, place it on your front thigh. Reach your left arm up. And then again, explore where your body is at today. If you want to come down, you can bring your hand on the inside or the outside of your right leg. That's really different for everybody where you are in the flexibility with your hips. And then reach your arm forward. So I'm really reaching. That's the most important, is to find that length on my left side. If you want to bind, left arm goes to the back, right arm underneath my right thigh, and then I open up. But if you're here, it's all good. It's your practice. And then with your next inhale, come up, warrior two. Inhale, press into that front foot, lengthen your front leg, and bring the toes forward. So you probably feel quite a lot of work in the thighs, in the inner thighs. So let's not be too tired and bring the feet together. So come back into Tadasana. Taking a few deep breaths in. So I'm just looking at the most favorite pose list. So let's come to the front of the mat. Roll the shoulders back. Take a deep breath in and a long breath out. And then inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, long spine. Exhale again, fold. This time place your hands down, bring the right leg back and bring the left leg back. Come into your plank. If you need to be on plank on the knees, you do just that. And then knees, chest, chin, or chaturanga, whatever works best for you. And inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. And then downward facing dog. So let's come into our downward facing dog. Don't worry, we're not gonna stay here for a very long time. We're gonna lift the right leg up. Sorry. And we're gonna bring the right knee, so bend the right knee, bring the right knee behind the right wrist. We'll go into pigeon. So we just already opened the hips quite a lot with our warrior two. So it might just feel a little bit more comfortable. So lengthen that back leg. So you really wanna lengthen that back leg so that your right hip, your body comes just a little bit lower. And then from here, so if you're falling, like if there is a lot of space here and you're falling onto your right, place a pillow, place something soft underneath. And then walk your hands back. See if you can stay here. So it's a lot of work from the pelvic floor to be able to stay here. Maybe you can even lift your arms up. Otherwise, just stay here. You can stay with your fingers onto the floor. Inhale, feel the front body opening. And now we're gonna bend the left knee. Maybe you have to stay here. Maybe you can grab your left foot with the right hand or the left hand. So this is the opening in the left quadriceps that we get when we do dancer pose. So imagine you're doing dancer pose, but now we have quite a lot of support, so we're not balancing, but we're really opening that left front thigh. Can you still breathe calmly here? Or is your breath so much shorter now because it's a big effort? See if you can release a little bit and find your natural breath again. And then with your next exhale, take away your hand, place it down, and then bring your left leg down. So inhale, open the chest, and now walk your hands forward. So if you know that sinking all the way to the floor is not accessible to you, again, take a block, bend your elbows, place your forehead onto something. You shouldn't have your neck all bent. You need to be comfortable into this pose. So if your knees do not allow you to do this pose, you go onto your back and you do what they call in aerobics number 4. So bending the right knee, placing the right ankle just below the left knee, and then bring your hands behind your left thigh and opening up. So that's for knees that are not so happy. So pigeon pose is an extremely good pose for your hips, especially if you're sitting all day. Our hips are also taking in a lot of stress. They are a very responsible part of our body because they hold us together. So sometimes they overhold and they take in everything. So if you can find a moment in your day to do pigeon pose, put on some music, don't think too much, just let the body and gravity do the work. So let's stay here for 2 more breaths. But you could stay much longer here. And then slowly coming back. So coming back into downward dog, just to stretch out everything. So you can walk your dog, you can dance your dog, whatever you need to do. If you need a little pause in child's pose, go there. It's gonna bring some weight again onto your knees. So I like to stretch out in downward dog. And then we're gonna lift the left leg up, bend the left knee and bring the left knee behind your left wrist. Glide that right leg back, untuck your toes. Eventually your right heel will be in line with your left heel will be in line with your left knee, but that's maybe in another life, for me at least. So walk your hands back. First of all, see if you can lift up here. It can be very different one side to the other. So for me, I'm lifting up a little bit here on my left hip. I'm using my pelvic floor muscles and opening, feeling the opening. There's a compression in the lower back. So if this is too much, never go where it's not comfortable. Like a little bit of discomfort is okay. It all depends on how you look at discomfort. No pain, absolutely not. And then place your hands down, bend your right knee and grab your right foot. If you can't grab your right foot, grab your pants. If you can't do that, then place your hands on the floor and just bring the leg in. But then you will really have to sink a little bit more to feel that opening into the front of the right thigh. So inhaling, exhaling. So pigeon pose also very good if you do cross-country skiing, because it's opening everything that you not negatively close off, but that you close off when you do cross-country skiing or biking. And then slowly release again, open up, find the length in your upper body and walk your hands forward or any other comfortable place for your head, for your forehead, so it can rest, your spine is neutral, no holding into this pose. We really want to let go. We stay here for 2 more breaths. And then slowly again, walking your hands back, tucking the back toes and coming to your downward facing dog. So walk your dog, dance your dog. Maybe tell your dog to sit down and go into child's pose, whatever your body needs now. And then bring the knees down. Walk your hands back and come onto your knees. So we have just done in pigeon pose quite a big back bend, but the back bend was really more an opening from the lower front part of our upper body. I know that's a lot of adjectives. And so the lower back was really getting a little bit of a squeeze. So now we're gonna start from the upper body. Tuck your toes for a little bit more stability. And then if you can, bringing the fingers pointing up, the heels of your hands might not touch, but what it does, it helps you to open the shoulders and keep them open and open the elbows. So already just that. So I'm with my fingers, I'm pulling my tailbone down. So I'm keeping a safe space into my lower back. It's a big stretch for the fingers, so that's a good one too. So I'm not even doing anything and I already feel that I'm leaning back a little bit. So your hips remain on top of your knees. Start to lift your chest up, push your tailbone down. Lift your chest up, elbows back, shoulder blades together. Lift your chest up. So if it's comfortable, you can look up to the ceiling. Otherwise, just look forward. Open up the chest. So if you stop breathing, you come back. You probably went too far. Inhale, exhale. And then slowly coming back. And take your fingers off and shake it out. So again, the preparation we did with the dancer pose before our pigeon was to open the quads. And this helps if you want to go back. So let's go again into our child's pose. There were 3 people whose favorite pose was child's pose. So reach your arms forward. Feel your spine getting long again. After a back bend, feel your spine getting long again. And then slowly walk your hands back. Sit onto your right or your left and bring your legs to the front. So we will do the balance the dancer next time. Roll the shoulders back, elbows back. Bring your arms to the front. Lengthen your spine. So as if you were sitting comfortably onto a chair. As soon as you start to fall into the pose, you're going to fall back. So reach your arms forward as a counterbalance. Roll the shoulders back. Activate the core. My feet are on the floor, but I don't need to press my feet down. They can just slightly touch. And then see how far you can go, keeping the spine long, keeping the neck in line with the spine, keeping the arms to the front. See how far you can go. When you're like, oh no, everything starts shaking, this is too much, bring your hands below your thighs, start to round your spine, and then bring one vertebra at a time onto the floor. Bring your knees into your chest. Give yourself a hug with your knees. So your lower back, your sacrum can lift now. You can also lift your head, lift your shoulders, make a little ball. And then slowly bring the lower back down to the floor. Separate your knees, bring your arms in between your legs, grab the outside of your feet. So if you cannot reach the outside of your feet, if that's really like mission impossible, grab your ankles. If that's mission impossible, there's many replays of Mission Impossible. So then you just grab your legs. If that's still not possible, then you place your arms behind your thighs and you hold it here. But just, we all want to make sure that the soles of our feet are parallel to the floor. Watch out that you don't lift your lower back here. So you want to press the sacrum into the floor. Your lower back can be flat, but you don't want to lift it and round the lower back. That's too much for the back. So from here, every exhale, see if you can press your feet a little bit more down. Your knees are going down. So it's the flexibility into the hips with the sacrum on the floor. If you want to be a very happy baby, you can roll from side to side. You can maybe pedal your feet a little bit, and watch out for your knees. So don't go and do crazy things with your feet. Keep the ankle and the knee in line. Otherwise, your knee is caught between the hip and the ankle. So inhale one more time. Exhale, release in the hips. Now bring the soles of the feet together. Grab your ankles and see if you can pull the heels towards your groin area. So my feet are a little bit lower. They're not touching the floor yet. I'm still holding on to my ankles, and then let go of your ankles and now place the outside of your feet into the floor. So now it's releasing time. So place your hands on the inside of your thighs and start to press your left hand into your left thigh. My right thigh is lifting. Just let it come. So, and then to the other side. So we're just rolling gently onto our sacrum, loosening up the lower back a little bit. And then bring the hands onto the outside of the thighs. And with the hands, you're going to close your legs off. Make sure you're on your mat. Open your arms in a T. Let's just do one more movement. If there is anything special that you want to do, go for it. What I need now is a little twist. I'm not sure why, but so I'm going to bring my knees above my hips and then slowly bring my knees over to the right. So I don't pay too much attention at this moment whether I push my left shoulder into the floor. I'm going to press my right hand onto my left thigh just to give a little bit more twist in my lower back. So if for you, you're ready for Shavasana, you can by all means already be there. If you're in a twist, take deep breaths in and release. You can exhale through the mouth. And then slowly coming back, center for one breath, and then exhale, going to the other side. Five breaths here, and then we'll join in Shavasana. And then slowly back to center. Lengthen your left leg towards the left corner. Lengthen your right leg towards the right corner. Maybe just gently press into your heels so that you can bring your tailbone a little bit more towards your heels. Your back is a little bit more neutral. My feet are still flexed and I'm going to open my toes to the side. So it's quite active, like it's moving, opening from the hips, opening to the side, and then release your feet. So with that, our hips are also open. If we just let the feet flop out, very often the hips just remain in the position we put them in. If your arms are still in a T, lower them a little bit. Maybe wiggle with your shoulder and shoulder blades and find that place where your shoulders can just be and do nothing. They have nothing to do now anyway. If you feel that your chin is pointing too much up to the sky, two options is to lift your head, tuck your chin, and then bring your head back down, not too much, or is to put a thin blanket under your head. So it really depends on how your back, your neck, your head is aligned. And let's take a deep breath in and exhale through the mouth, release. And as you release, not just your breath, also release your body onto the floor. So maybe feel the spots where your body is touching the floor. Is it possible to find a balance there? So not that we just dumping our whole body into the floor, but also feeling the support coming from the floor, so that both forces almost cancel themselves out and we're kind of floating. And then imagine the clouds, the white, fluffy clouds, gently coming down as a blanket onto your whole body. Letting go where there is tension through the exhale. Letting go your forehead and your jaw, your ears. Almost a sensation that the skin at the front of your body is rolling off your body. And then as always, I invite you to stay in your Shavasana as long as it's comfortable for you, as long as you can, but mostly as long as you need. I know there's sometimes conflict between what we need and what the time allows us, but just consider it as a good investment. When you're ready to come out, reconnect with your breath first, just observing the inhale and the exhale before you start to lengthen the inhale and the exhale. If you feel there's some tension left, don't hesitate to exhale and through the mouth and release, release, release. A good sigh does wonders. And depending when you practice, if you're practicing at night, don't stretch yourself out. If you're practicing in the morning or during the day, with your next inhale, maybe stretch yourself out, your legs, your arms overhead. And then exhale, knees into the chest, and then gently rolling over to the right side, if that's comfortable. Otherwise, you go to the other side. And then when you're ready, coming up into a comfortable seated pose. Bring the hands in front of your heart in any way that feels comfortable for you, gently tucking the chin. May your thoughts be peaceful, your words kind and respectful, and may your heart always be filled with love. Namaste. Thank you all so much for these first 30 days. I hope you realize you're giving me a lot. So I hope we can continue practicing together. And if you have any questions, of course, you know I'm here. Here is far physically, but it's close in our hearts. So thank you.
Thank you so